I'm going to stick on the offense, but I'm going to move to the offensive line to the starting right tackle for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's
Okay.
Mike McGlinchey. I think
Great one.
looking at him, he looks a lot like maybe he doesn't like look like Pinner, but as an offensive lineman, it looks like he padded on he looks like I think they said he added like 25 pounds or something like that, 10, 15. Like he looks like bigger. Like he looks like 310, 315 now. And
that's what he said. He said he's ranging between 315 and 320. That's what Mike McGlinchey says. So that is great news for 49ers fans.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And yeah, and he's going to be a very important part, I think, in the success of, this offense in the sense that he definitely struggled last year. And I think context kind of had to play a role in that. Otherwise, with like having switching right guards there and
the inconsistency,
that kind of things, inconsistency, and like just that offensive line and the quarterback play as well. It wasn't all on him. Like obviously he had his blunders from time to time, but it wasn't all just him. Not just all him being bad. Because he's not a bad player in my opinion. Like he's actually a pretty good one. So yeah, he's definitely been a good in this training camp thus far. And, again, kind of similar to what Trey kind of hoped that he does, adjust into that, once you hit week one. And I think having Bosa back, having that competition on the week to week, having D Ford week to week, having speed guy like Samson Ebicom is helping him as well. And, maybe, maybe D'Amico Ryans is drawing up some, defensive schemes where they have that nickel blitz like Robert Saleh did a couple times last year, where you kind of saw McGlinchey struggle on some of those plays. So McGlinchey has definitely been very much a good in this training camp thus far, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and a big part of this too, and I feel like we really have to acknowledge this, is the mental side from Mike McGlinchey. Seems like
it's there. He's there. It seems like he's there now. Like
it seems like last year was like for Mike, like a lot of us. So one of the worst years of his life. I mean, really, he talked about it openly. I don't feel like I'm overreaching by saying that if you listen to the way he talked in his press conferences this past week. And the thing I feel like we don't key into enough, as maybe not as sports journalists, but as sports viewers in general, is there's so much emotion, there's so much behind the scenes stuff, and we don't know what's going on in people's lives. And for a guy like Mike McGlinchey to not be able to, like he was saying, I was watching his press conference just the other day, not having gyms open, not having the dietary people that he has access to, not being able to get into the gym as often, it all affected him. And for offensive linemen, I mean, they have to be eating constantly. It really is this upkeep, right, of constant weight upkeep that you can't slow down on. And then with everything going on with the pandemic, you're forced to slow down, right? Obviously,
and that's
a certain way.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you there, but it's that point. I think it's people like normal people like us thinking like, oh, you just eat more and then you're gonna be fine. Like it's not that simple. No. And I think that's where like you mentioned, context is very important when evaluating not just this but also everything. Plus, the mental aspect of the pandemic as well. Yeah. I think took a toll on some players, like not just McGlinchey, but you asked your whole team. Your whole team was forced to play your home games in a different state.
And they were isolated in hotel rooms too. That's the thing. They're not at home. They can't interact with any of their teammates. They're as isolated and as lonely as it gets. Yeah. And if you have any sort of mental anguish going on, if you have any sort of anxiety, that would only amp that up to the nines, right? So to expect Mike McGlinchey to have a bounce back here, it's obviously about that weight. It's obviously about him playing better, but just the mental aspect of football, it's so tiring on people. And to see a guy like Mike McGlinchey doing so better, I'm really happy for him as a human being. But in terms of the football aspect of this, playing that sort of way last year, it just craters your confidence. And I think him getting that captain spot last year, I think it all affected him in this sort of way where it was a perfect storm of all the bad things, right?
Plus it was his first year without Joe Staley. So
that's a big thing,
and it kind of felt like he was trying to be Joe Staley. Yeah, like he was trying to embrace that role. But I think, like we mentioned with context, having Trent Williams there now and being sort of like he is here now, I think that's only going to help him too. Understanding how to be that pro and how to be an elite.
And Alex Mack seems like more Mack too, at offensive line. That's the guy that I'm really. If we don't get play out of Alex Mack, I think his impact as a person will be hugely felt on this offensive line.
And we're not assuming that McGlinchey is going through this stuff, and that's not safe to assume. But it could have been something that he. And many other players, went through. So, I'm more likely than not, I'm pretty safe in saying that he's going to have a, bounce back year.